So welcome, everyone. It's really great to introduce the third OM practice problem seminar. That is a new initiative organized as part of the MSOM Journals Practice Platform department. And so before I introduce our talk and speaker for today, there's a couple of people that I want to acknowledge. So Georgia Perakis, the editor-in-chief of the journal, is with us today, and she's been a great supporter of this initiative. Thank you very much, Georgia. I also want to thank and introduce everyone to my two partners in crime as part of this practice platform department. All the crime is me, they do the good thing. So my co-editor, Anand Raman from the Harvard Business School, and Pavitra Arsha from IBM. Together, the three of us sort of manage this initiative as part of the department and organizing this seminar series. And then there's a last person that I want to mention is Michelle Zellers, who is the managing editor of the MSOM Journal, and who is an absolutely invaluable help as far as organizing everything in this seminar, in addition to, of course, the paper review process for the journal. So thank you very much, Michelle, and it's great that you're here with us. Thank you. So as I said, it's the third and last seminar of the year. On this occasion, I thought I would invite everyone listening now to contact Anand, Pavitra, and myself with any suggestions that you may have for other seminars, after this very distinguished speaker that we've got today. So others, potential seminar speakers that you think would be interesting for our community to hear in this context of OM practice problem seminar. So again, very high level, it's about giving voice to practitioners and facilitating an interaction whereby practitioners bring to us their problems and facilitate research, collaboration, and opportunities, and taking this as a seed. So that's what we're trying to achieve. And for that reason, I'm really delighted to introduce our speaker today. So Asaf Avrahami is the CEO of Wizsoft, and is also at the same time a visiting professor from the Technion in Israel. So his talk is about data-driven decision models for small and medium businesses and research opportunities surrounding this. Before I leave the floor to Asaf, I just mention a couple of the interaction guidelines for this talk. So we would like to actively use the chat as part of this seminar, and so we'll be moderating and reviewing this chat. The speakers and Pavitra and Anand and myself will be reading this very, very carefully. So if there's a question you want to ask, it would be grateful if you could sort of type it in the chat, and we'll make sure that either we as editor or Asaf directly sort of responds to it based on the specific contribution that you offer. So with no further ado, again, please join me in welcoming Asaf Avrahami to this seminar. Welcome, Asaf.
Thank you, Jeremy. I'm very happy to be with you today. Thank you, Georgia, for offering this idea to speak with you today. Thank you, Jeremy, that we have been in close contact in the past few weeks to prepare this presentation. And I'm really keen to do something together that will bring an impact for our community. This is, in the end of the day, what we are looking for. Good morning, everybody. Good evening if you are in Israel, like me. So this is already evening here. And just let me start with sharing my presentation. Feel free if you want to ask questions, if you want to write something. I'm here for that. Do you see my screen?
We do. Thank you.
Great. Okay. So a bit about myself. So I'm married. We are 5 kids, 5 dogs right now. You will hear them during the presentation. Don't worry. Cats. We live in Israel, in the north part of Israel, in the Galil. My background is industrial engineering and information systems, and as Jeremy mentioned, I did my PhD in the Technion and part of it in MIT. Previously, I worked as a major in the Navy, and I was the CEO at Yediot Group. There we did very interesting work together with the academy. And I told the team here before we started that I really want to repeat this success. I mean, what we did in Yediot, this research work that was, in the end of the day, was implemented in the industry and to have this impact. Currently, I'm the CEO of HERP Group. I will elaborate later on about the company. But basically, what we do is we provide ERP platforms for more than 40,000 SMBs and SMEs. When we say ERP platform, we mean the system that allows them to run their business. I mean, it's like an enterprise resource planning, but it's not like a big SAP, but something which is suitable for those small and medium businesses. Lately, we were bought by the biggest IT group in Israel named Khilan. And, you know, as for in my free time, that's what I do, participate in triathlons and also this is the view from my garden. By the way, the picture in the right side is a picture from last week from the first and ever Ironman competition that was in Israel. The left one was in Germany. So our company was established in the 80s, as I mentioned before, providing ERP solutions for organizations. We have 2 different platforms. One of them is like an on-prem platform, which is installed in the customer servers. And the other one, which is now almost 4 years old, is a fully web platform where we allow all the functionality of an ERP platform through the web. Everything is hosted in AWS, and there that way we supply the ERP solution. Imagine yourself private-owned businesses. Most of them are family business, something between 10 employees and 100 employees, with a turnover that is between millions of dollars and 10 millions of dollars. I mean, something around $100 million, it would be like a upper cap of the traditional customer in our platform. Talking about the platform, this is basically what included in the platform. So we allow all the accounting management. The platform allows the inventory management, production management, relatively simple production management. I mean, if you are producing a rocket, so you will not use our platform. But if you have like a simple production line with few assemblies, that would be great for our platform. All the CRM activities, the customer relationship management is in the platform. You can do all your procurement and all warehouse management in the platform. The distribution as well. If you have like your simple HR needs, they are there. And this is basically what the platform includes. I will show you in a minute, like a short video that will show you all the different parts of the platform. But in the end of the day, we believe in the company that use basic KPIs as part of the organization. Even though they are small and medium businesses, we have to present them some interesting KPIs. Usually you have to imagine those organizations don't have research department and engineers that we tell them what do they have to measure, how do they have to measure that. And we see as a big challenge the idea to find those KPIs, to present them, and to allow effective management of the business to those customers. I will show you later on how does data or data warehouse of a platform looks like, but imagine yourself that all financial transactions are in the database, all inventory transactions are in the system, and all CRM transactions are in the system. Everything that's related to payment of customers and payment conditions and payment delays are in the platform. And every transaction that's related to each one of those bullets that mentioned here, there is a record in the database of the system. So just roughly say what are the things that we think we can do with this data. And here again, I see our big challenge in this project that we brought today to the table. So if we have all this data that I just mentioned in the previous slide, so we can find rules that deviates from the normal behavior and some anomalies that describe in the data. The platform has any transaction about every customer, and also every customer that ever left the platform, I mean, as a customer of our customer, so the platform knows that somebody left. So we might be able to forecast and analyze churn trends. As I mentioned before, every financial transaction is record, and every financial transaction is record for in every customer database. And therefore, if somebody as a customer of a customer become risky, the platform might know it just from the data. And of course, we as an OM researchers, a series of inventory optimization tools can be implemented into the data and give and recommend about the right behavior for a specific item or a specific order that has to be done. Jeremy asked me to say who might be the different team players in the organization that might be interested in those things. So everything that's related to the problem context that I mentioned, CFOs in the organizations for sure might be internal customers. They are looking for smart tools to discover frauds, to discover mistakes, to discover financial risk. And the problem motivations for them is that this work would be manually related in things that related for risky customers. That might be the problem context, might be the CMO, and therefore the problem motivation might be to find the way to do it automatically. I would like to share with you right now a quick short video of the platform, so you will be able to see what are the parts that are part of a platform like that. So let me stop the share. And I think, Jeremy, if that's a good point, if there were some questions, for some reason I was not able to see the chat. So yeah, if there were some questions that you think that we should present right now, it would be a good chance to do it right now.
Yeah, I have a question, and then also sort of texted, I think, another question that is really relevant. My question, it's more confirming my understanding, is that compared back to the 80s, 90s, where ERP systems were implemented in sort of closed computer network, completely siloed, I understood from the beginning of your presentation that there's sort of two major evolutions related to that era, and was wondering if you could confirm. So one is the scope of the different types of data that's being recorded and integrated into those systems as expanded. So now you have sort of inventory, CRM, finance, auditing, logistics, and so on. Sort of a scope expansion. And then the second thing I noted down is that because all of this data now is accessed through web-based application, the way in which it's stored in your system is a lot more standardized than in the previous era, where you have different database formats and structures and template definition as part of the company's legacy IT systems, as opposed to in systems like HERP, where it's all sort of standardized as part of one single format. Do you have comments on this? Can you confirm the understanding, and am I missing anything?
So I think, as you mentioned, that the big challenge is that all of the data that you just described is available in one database scheme with all tables that are connected to each other and related to one specific organization. It's like having an online monitor. Imagine yourself that the company is like a human body, and you have an online monitor for every transaction of your heart beat, of your blood pressure, of your body temperature, or whatever that we imagine that is important to understand what is going on in the organization. And this is something that happens automatically. I mean, recording this data is like something that happens as a part of the business process. Now, those organizations are using this platform today as a platform to operate the organization without having any insights or automatic insights out of this platform. And this is where I see the big challenge, because, as you mentioned, everything is there, and the evolution was that there are more and more and more, there's more and more and more functionality as part of the platform. So it started just with accounting, and then it's also inventory, and then it's also CRM, and then it's also payments, and then bank transactions. So, and as I see it, this is the big challenge, because we have this data available. It's like an oil. I mean, we have to harvest there, and we have to find something. And currently, I mean, also other platforms, we are doing nothing with that.
Thank you, Asaf. It's very, very clear.
Okay.
And then is it okay if you unmute yourself and ask Asaf?
I would suggest going to the video, and I can then ask the question after the video.
Okay, sure. So just a few minutes to show how does the platform looks like. Okay.
And just one before you start, and I think Asaf, there's an area, I think, on the upper part of the screen, sort of it's a pretty wide rectangle that for some reason is being grayed out. And if it's not very cumbersome, so if you can't resolve it, I don't think it's the end of the world. But if you're able to see or easily fix what might be causing this sort of obstruction in the screen, it might be worth spending 10 seconds to look.
A second, is it all over the screen?
So now all of your screen just disappeared. No, it was not all over. It was just a sort of a relatively thin horizontal rectangle towards the top of your screen.
Is it also when I'm not sharing?
No.
It's also now. Also now you see.
It was only about the content you were sharing, either slide or the video as well. In my experience, it might be a Zoom control window.
Yeah, let's start.
You probably checked off a box that says optimize for something.
Is it okay now, or it's still with the problem?
So yeah, we still have a little bit of right where you have your right where you have your pointer.
Better now. Did I move it? It's a different place. Okay, good. Okay, so let's see the quick video and then we can continue.
Web application comprising all of the modules typically included in advanced ERP applications: finance, accounting, sales, procurement, inventory management, and more. HERP for Web is a true web application. The software is run in the browser and all of the data is stored in the cloud, contrary to other applications in which only the user interface is a web application, while the data and queries are saved and run in the server using client-server technology. HERP for Web can be run in the browser from any device connected to the internet, without requiring any software installation. The Start screen is a dashboard that can be customized by each user to include various charts, reports, historical data, and so on. HERP for Web includes an advanced CRM module where users can customize and activate various activities. If some users prefer to use another CRM application, they can connect the two applications using HERP for Web's advanced API. HERP for Web issues all of the documents required for business activity: quotations, orders, delivery notes, invoices, receipts, checks, etc. This makes it easy to retrieve, for example, invoices based on the order for which they were issued. The documents can be issued on a tablet or smartphone. Let's look at some of the unique advantages offered by HERP for Web. HERP for Web includes an advanced report generator. Users can independently and easily design reports according to their requirements. The accounting module includes a bank reconciliation and internal matches option that automatically finds cases of one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many matches. HERP for Web lets you plan your procurement on the basis of operation research algorithms. By applying these algorithms, you reduce both the inventory cost and the number of out-of-stock cases. Users can customize their data input screens, columns displayed, column order, individual column width, order of the values within a column, and more. HERP for Web includes a proprietary advanced search algorithm embedded in many areas of the software, such as item or account search. When letters are typed, an autocomplete feature displays results that are phonetically similar, which helps resolve common user errors, such as letter swapping and mistyping certain characters. There is no charge per number of users, but instead per number of new transactions. CPAs and their business clients can directly update the same datasets without any APIs. HERP for Web is a complete and affordable ERP web application offering a wide selection of exclusive, leading-edge features. HERP. Simply smarter.
Okay. So this is basically, just a quick taste of the platform itself. By the way, what I had in mind is, maybe you saw in the presentation that there is like a big dashboard, but in this dashboard, you have to determine what do you want to see there. I mean, you have to select the reports. They are like 1.0 reports, okay? And what I have in mind is something that will be fully automated insights that will brought to you as when you run your business, you will see things that you were even not asking about them. This is the idea. I mean, So let's continue with the presentation. Okay, so this is things. Those are things we already discussed. So what I had in mind, what we had in mind, is to bring some insights, automatic insights that can be generated by using the database of the platform. Those insights should be made and should be available to decision makers in a user-friendly, available format. And they, of course, will be part of the platform, as I imagined that. And as mentioned before, we are looking for a way to enable those new tools with those new models that will be operating on this data that we have in the system, that will allow this progress. As I mentioned before, during my discussion with Jeremy, I see a huge opportunity here, and the reason for that is the following. Those organizations usually do not have research departments, do not have analysts, they do not have all those clever tools that the big organizations that we are familiar with in the academy have. And therefore, and this is from one hand. From the other hand, I think that the impact, you know, one day at a week, I visit those customers. So I want to see how do they look like? I mean, this mom and pop business, okay? Usually they are very busy. They are in the triangle of needs of Maslow. Yeah, you know this Maslow model. They are survivors. They are survivors not from a physical point of view, from a time point of view. They do not have time for nothing, okay? They will not read complicated reports. They will not have the way to invest time in order to have some insights. And they are really keen for clever, rapid, automatically insights that will allow them to increase their productivity, okay? And as I mentioned in our previous discussions, in the previous discussions that I had with Jeremy, they are really, I mean, as we see them, they are a really huge part of the economy. I mean, they are not neglectable. Okay, if you look this long tail of those many small businesses, although they are not banks and they are not huge giants that you are familiar with, like Amazon or Walmart or whatever, I think that if we will be able to bring new models in which they can be available to those SMBs, the impact on the economy can be dramatic. You know, in those days that I take those days to visit them and to see around, I really see, you know, there is a sentence in Hebrew, I really see the money on the floor. I see how they really do things that they are used to do because they don't have time, and they make not necessarily not optimal decisions, okay? Where if we could find a way to allow optimal decisions in various areas, okay? Inventory is one of them, okay? Of course, we are familiar with this area. They could increase their productivity dramatically, okay? And this is really what we are looking for. We are looking for those models that we will be able to implement on this data set, that will become part of the platform, that will allow those tens of thousands of organizations to be more productive. And the interesting thing behind that is when we launch something, this is what I like about it. When we launch something, everybody gets it. I mean, immediately they get this feature, they get this model, they get whatever we decide that is clever and smart, okay? One of the things, just to give you, I see that there are questions. Oh, sorry. One of the things that we did in the past few months Jeremy, I'm not sure that I told you about that. We asked them who is willing to share under, of course, the law regulations. There are some regulations about, but who is willing to share data about, not about himself, about his customers that are that have some, let's call it payment troubles. Okay, now the system do that automatically, because if I issue an invoice and this invoice has a due date, when somebody pays that, the platform knows that he pays. And if for some reason there is a delay in the payment, so without asking any question, the system knows that this customer X, Y, Z, whatever, he is late. He's late in 1 day, he's late in 2 days, he's late in 3 days, etc., etc. So we had to ask them if they want to join this trial. So if you want to be part of the community, share. By the way, they do not have to do something technically, okay? Because it's their own data. They just have to confirm. When they say we confirm, so we have an access to this data, just this data of the delay, okay? The delay in payments, this is what we have an access to. And then immediately we just took this data of delays, and imagine this platform knows is much better than a credit score. Okay, sometimes there is some credit score in Israel, okay, but this is like, it's a post-mortem credit score. When somebody gave, you know, a payment, and this was when he already has some bankrupts, then the system, those regular system knows that. Our system knows in a matter of seconds that something happens. Okay, I mean, this is a good example, and we just launched it in the past few months, and there are, out of 10,000, there are hundreds that already said, I do. By the way, it's tricky for them to confirm that, because they have to confirm to share a situation of their own customers. Of course, they're not sharing it with, it's a pool of data. Okay, so all this data is in one area, and then we ran our model. We are running a model which allows us to say, hey, Asaf is late in here and here and here and here. Next time that somebody wants to do deal with Asaf, there is like a sign that shows that there is something that they should check with this customer. Okay, so this is like just an example about IDs. Okay, sorry, I saw that there were some hands. Yeah.
Yeah, Asaf, the data. Thank
Yes,
you for raising your hand. The data. I think if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Sure.
Yeah. Hi, Asaf. Great talk. So I'm from Oracle Retail, and I totally sync with you on the ERP situation. So I have a couple of points, comments, questions, however we want to perceive that.
Please.
So I was following the chat, and yeah, Professor Anand says that you're arguing towards like simplicity over performance. And I would say that, so this is like a two-edged sword that we face when we are trying to sell a new product or algorithm. People want to know whether we're using some artificial intelligence, machine learning type of buzzwords. However, they also want to understand what we are doing, and they want visibility from each different internal stage of the solution. For example, if we are doing forecasting, if we just run a big neural network and give them a forecast, they will say, okay, but we also want visibility on the pre-processing of the initial sales. We want visibility on the elasticity, seasonality, base demand, baseline forecast, and promo effects, price effects, everything. So now, like I kind of recently joined a year back, and then how do we do it? And so one of the things that I'm pushing through and trying is, okay, maybe the way to go is we still keep the pipeline bifurcated in the sense that people will still have visibility to each stage of the solution. And therefore, we cannot throw a big neural network to kind of cover the whole forecasting solution. We can build tuned or specialized models for each stages of the solution. Like, for example, a neural network that can perform better for seasonality might be very different in architecture than what might be working for pre-process sales. And therefore, if we have like smaller models like answering each solution, we can answer that. So I do agree to this comment that people, no matter they fall for buzzwords, but at the end of the day, they will only use your solution if they have visibility to each of the steps that you are doing.
Thank
The
you
other-
for sharing. One second. If you don't mind that, I just wanted to see if Asaf had some reactions or thoughts in relation to this.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, we know that customers that if we will recommend something, we will have to explain them why we make this decision. I mean, why does the platform recommend it? Okay, and that way, they are looking for the explanation behind the model. Okay, they will not do things that are just the machine told them to do that. Okay, so I really think this is part of the challenge. Okay, it is part of the challenge. For example, right now when we do this risky customers model, and somebody become red in the screen. I mean, they are looking for somebody to become. They immediately ask, why does Asaf is red now? What happens? Why is he red? So we have to, there is a support. When you click the red button, you see that Asaf has 4 delays in other areas, and maybe one payment he didn't pay, and maybe he has like a legal issue in 2 legal issues that are now open. So I think we will not be able, I think it's a good remark, we will not be able to recommend or to tell something or to say something without supporting it in explanations. By the way, this is why neural networks sometimes are complicated, because there is no explanation. So one of the things that we do, and we had in mind, is to do things with association rules. I mean, then if we do this data mining with association rules, then it will be more explainable, because then you know what are the conditions that brought to this impact. I mean, you have explanation behind the result, okay? So I think this is part of the challenge, okay? To explain the recommendation.
Thank you, Asaf. That I didn't mean to cut you off, but I thought you had maybe a second point, if you wouldn't mind.
I have 2 other points. So my second point is, as a researcher, the challenge we have is when I'm trying to kind of solve a new problem or and do a new algorithm, and it can happen that the necessity of the new problem solving or the new algorithm is either driven by one of our customers asking for it, or even driven internally, that we foresee in the future that this is going to become an interesting problem in supply chain retail. So let's solve it and stay ahead of our competitors. Now for that, we need data. And suppose we have done the proof of concept using some cooked up data, some synthetic data, but then we need to go to try that in large scale data on actual customers. And sometimes, for example, if I'm trying to build a recommendation system model, suppose, currently we don't have that. I'm trying to do that, leading the effort for that. But for that, we need transactional level data, and none of our customers are currently providing transactional level data to our database systems. They're only doing sales at daily level, but it's still aggregated sales at daily level per customer, but it's not carton level, transaction level data. And so to make the customers convince and move that this product will benefit you, it will be a standout product, like a separate product for you, and also it will help improve forecasting and inventory planning and also other things, because by recommendation you're actually also understanding cross effects of items. Anyway, so the pushing the customers to kind of send a new feed of data is a big challenge when launching a new thing or a new algorithm to the whole platform.
Thank you, Dr. Let me take this point and let Asaf comment with respond. And then I also noticed that Anand raised his hand. Asaf, please.
Okay. I'm really happy you raised this point, because I think that is one of the big relative advantage of, the potential cooperation that we are offering here, because we have the detailed transaction data. I mean, we have it in the platform. Okay, so it's there. I will show you later on the tables and how does they look like. And I think we discussed it before the meeting. Of course, it's not our data. It belongs to the customer. So they have to agree that we will share it. So this is something we have to go through, okay? But I believe that, so from technical point of view, we do not have a technical point of view. We have a legal point of view, a problem, okay? We do not have a technical point of view. If somebody, for example, say, yes, I'm willing to take part in this research, then we just put a checkbox, is data there, which will be, of course, anonymized. And we, as researchers, will have the access to every transaction in the organization. We do not have, he do not have to do anything in order to supply this data. And I believe that we will be able to get permission from those organizations that are interested in this, you know, cutting edge technology. We have to think what we want to offer them. Obviously, it will be free of charge for them. We have to think about what are what is the relative advantage for them. But it's more legal question and not a technical question, okay?
Asaf, if I may allow myself to reiterate, just to make sure the community, all participants understand. Am I hearing, essentially you're sort of challenging us to come up with proposal as part of which, here's what we could do with the data if you gave it to us. And then it's, you know, at that point, it would be to sell the ideas to the owners of that data and for the quality of the proposal to convince them to share it.
Yeah, that's right. Just because we discussed it, so let me show you. I mean, how does it look like? Okay, I mean, so just those tables. I mean, we have it in a level of each transaction. Okay, I just brought for you. You see my screen right now, right?
Yes, thank you.
Great. So you see, I mean, for every account, which is the customers, we have every data that is related to this customer and every transaction. For every item in the stock, we have every single transaction with all those attributes. For everything that's related to stock that is related to a different item, we have, you know, if you moved it, if somebody ordered it, if somebody delivered it, and so on. And of course, that every journal transaction, which is a financial transaction, is there in a level of a single transaction. Okay. So I think that the challenge will be to convince those, I mean, early adopters to allow us to share it with researchers. It's there, the data is there. Okay. We do not have to do anything in order to put our hands there, except of getting their permission.
And just I suspect the detailed description of all of these data structure and field that might have gone a little bit fast, you know, given the interaction we're having, is the structure of all of these very detailed data about all of the part of the organism that is being monitored. Is this something that that you're comfortable sharing, the structure of the data itself, not the...
Yeah. What we had in mind as a next step, I mean, after we see that there is some interest, to provide like a sandbox environment that will conduct like a schema, a sample schema of all this database. Okay. Potentially with, you know, we have in the platform, we have some demo companies. Okay. With, it's not a real companies that with transactions, with items, whatever. This is how we present the platform. So with potential demo data there, okay? And that way, potential researchers would have an access to this schema, to this organism, in order to understand what do we have there.
Thank you. And then you had raised your voice, and then I want to go back to the data.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is well, as of like a lot of other people, I mean, you know, we're familiar with these SMEs because they're plentiful in our lives, right? I was thinking about what are the challenges SMEs have to become clients of SAP or Oracle, you know, and I think these are two kind of related questions. I'll try to be brief over here. One is, well, SAP or Oracle might not be right for me. The second thing but closely related is I can't afford Accenture to come and customize it for me. So, one question I had was, is Wizsoft disrupting the ERP business, or is it disrupting the consulting business? All right. And let me throw the second question over here. I mean, this is a question for you as CEO. Like, what's the more attractive story, I suppose? And the second piece over here is every SME I know, there are transactions that are off the books, that I didn't put it in there. I paid somebody, I didn't put it in the books. I had a sale, I traveled, or I took a personal trip, I put it on the books for good reason. I mean, there might be. So the data quality can sometimes, I don't want to use the word it's bad data, but it's got a different flavor than what you would see at, say, IBM or a large company like that. How does that one, I mean, this could be very exciting for a researcher to say, how do you create a car that can travel over that data, as opposed to one that operates in a very different context?
I really agree with what you say. I mean, usually, sometimes we see data, sometimes the companies needs our help in order to recover the data, in order to find some bugs. So they send everything to us. And we do this fixing the data. Okay, it's not about activating any models, and we see exactly the things that you mentioned. There is some missing data. There is some garbage in, garbage out. So absolutely, you are right. This is part of the challenge. I mean, if we will have this data in the tables, sometimes we might see things that are not rational. We will see errors. And I think part of the thing would be to find a way to eliminate those black holes, okay? Because we see it in the data, okay? So this is a first question, and the second question that you asked. And the first one would be, we are an on-the-shelf ERP platform with no development. By the way, we have every month 100 new names. And the times it takes us to bring them to the air is something like 48 hours, okay? So this is not really like a project of implementation of tens or hundreds of $millions to implement at SAP. We take the product out of the box. There is a lot of configuration. I mean, just you put all the right buttons in the right place, okay, in the platform, and then the business goes live. We do not write single line of code for a new customer, okay? And this is the big challenge from our point of view. And this is basically the big difference between like buying SAP and to customize every screen and every data and to change the color. And it's like, in a way, it's like Microsoft Office. You take it out of the box and you operate it, and you configure it according to your needs, okay?
Thank you, Asaf. Devdatta, do you want to follow up? You still have another point.
Yeah. So just to kind of, after comments of Asaf, tie out my previous point is that, so the point I was making is that in companies like Oracle, there have been customers who have been using the products from say 10 years back. And the issues come when we are trying to, if a new customer is coming on board, we can easily say that, hey, we also need this data or this feature to kind of get the full usage or full utilization of our whole software platform. But if there's old customer who have been kind of going on with their life fine, they don't realize that, okay, there is a new product and we have to give the new data for that. And then the questions start coming, why do we need this? Why can't we solve the new problem with the data you have? Because from a customer's point of view, then they are thinking there is more maintenance time on the data flow from their end, like data collection, data flow, and then also they have to pay for the DB space and also the computing power to Oracle. So it's more harder to push older customers, the legacy customers, to kind of improve and have new data features to kind of solve the newer problems.
Basically, what I think is that we should, I mean, in this project, we should not tell them to enter new data. I mean, because of our research, okay? So I think that what we have to stick to is that there are some operational screens that they are using in order to run their business, okay? They have to issue an invoice, they have to get the payment, they have to put the item in the stock, they have to order the item, they have to put it on the shelf, and those things are essential to operate the business, okay? So I do not think if we will tell them to, as you mentioned, to enter new records there because we need it to our AI algorithm, we can forget about it. They will not put anything new there because we need it in order to develop our models, okay? But I got the feeling, and you will see the data later on, that we have enough data to provide interesting insights, automatic insights, okay? This is what I believe, okay?
Thank you, Asaf. Let me pass the mic, as it were, to Pavitra, who wanted to comment.
Yeah, it's great to learn about the product, Asaf, and I wanted to know, like, currently, like, if you had to give an idea, what kind of decision support or insight mechanisms you have in place, and what kind of like open source, because again, you're probably not investing in heavy duty solvers here that are running behind the ERP to provide these solutions, possibly like CPLEX or other licenses to go with the HERP. What are the kind of decision support methodologies that you have in place that you are leveraging to provide these insights, or what do you foresee that like what do you say, researchers like us can use to develop these things, right? It cannot be very sophisticated solvers out there. That is one thing. And for explainability, like, are you providing more like decision rules based, like, okay, if you do this, do this, do this? I mean, how do you provide those visuals and like, yeah.
So I will answer those two questions. First of all, currently everything that is developed in the web platform is hard-coded with, you know, Node.js, Java, PHP. So there is nothing which is like an embedded platform or technology or data engineering tools that are part of the platform. Okay? Everything was coded by us. Okay, and that's a good question, because if we want to implement something, we have to use the right tool to implement it, okay? So this is a discussion that we have to do. What will be those tools, how we will integrate them in the platform, and probably what would be the costs of those tools, okay? So for sure, that's a good point, okay? For the second questions, I think that what we had in mind, we have like a BI layer, which is business intelligence layer, or something that I showed it in the opening screen, which allows you to determine what do you want to see there. I will give an example. If I want to see in my main dashboard income and outcome and waiting orders and delivery notes or whatever, I can determine that those are the things that should be in this open screen. And that way, every time that I open the screen, there is like a SQL request that goes to the data, bring this view, and then I can see what is going on there, okay? I think that we should start with something that to this screen, which is a web screen, so it's easy for us to develop that if we just know the what we want to present there. To this screen, we have to bring recommendations. It's not like if you do this, so do this. Okay, for example, a good recommendation might be, please pay attention. You should order this item. You are going to have an inventory level which is too low soon. Okay. Something else might be, hey, we see that your cash flow is problematic. Please approach your bank and ask for a loan. Okay. Something else can be, hey, pay attention. This customer is in a high likelihood to abandon you as a supplier. Okay, so this is what I see as the first layer, and then we can discuss something which is okay.
Great. Thank you for this exchange, Pavitra and Asaf. In the interest of time, I'll just reiterate this really interesting area of research. You defined the most single precious scarce resource of small medium businesses, which is time. So research area is telling them how to best use whatever limited time they have. So that really makes sense as well. Let me sort of make sure we finish not too late and on time by taking this opportunity again for thanking all of the participants who joined us, and then Pavitra, Georgia from the journal for helping me organize this with Michelle, and most importantly, thanking Asaf for making the time for this and sharing your insights about these research opportunities. And I'm going to clap myself, also invite everybody for virtual clapping as well. Thank you very much, Asaf.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Asaf.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you.
Let me also thank Asaf and Jeremy in particular.
Thank you, Jamie, Asaf, Georgia,
Thank you, everybody.
Anas.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a great day.
Bye, guys. Great job, Asaf.